You guys are usually over there. But right now you're right here. What's going on? What's going on? What happened? What updated? Hey. Hey guys, welcome to We're Back, but most likely to my channel. Who gave her a mic with me, Samantha Kaye? The person who was given said mic. Mind you, by the way, even though I went on that year-long hiatus, same mic, guys. She's so humble. She's so humble. You may be wondering, guys, I know. Just let me finish your thought. You may be wondering what's going on. Did we get a budget increase? The answer is no. I wanted a desk, so I was looking online for a desk and realized that desks are expensive. So I was like, Mom, do we have an old desk somewhere? And she said, you could take your brother's. And mind you, like, if it was the other way around, if it was like my brother who's like, I need this, and my mom's like, it's not this room, I would have killed him. I would have genuinely murdered my brother for taking something from my room. But I think that's different because, like, I'm older and I'm also his fucking sister. Like, motherfucker, like, don't touch my shit. Like, whatever. So that's why it's different from, like, if I was doing it compared to him. Because it's my stuff. Come on. Yeah, come on. It's older sister logic. Like, come on, guys. Anywho, I really wanted to put a new vibe to the podcast. And I think that this is what it needed because, one, it's better for my back. Two, it's not like constantly moving because, like, I'm adjusting myself on the bed. And also, like, this is nice for me. Like, when I'm, like, doing stuff on my computer, it is so nice to sit up on a desk and type away instead of breaking my back as I sit on my bed. Because, mind you, my sister got sciatica from all of this, like, leaning, like, doing this on her bed, typing on her laptop. That and doing theater, like, worsened her lower back. And I'm not doing that to myself. It's bad enough I have an uneven leg that causes a lot of, like, ouchies to my hips. It's bad enough. So, like, the last thing I need is something that'll exacerbate that. I hope I use that word correctly because I love that word, exacerbate, but sometimes it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. So, like, bless up to having a reason to use that word, honestly. So today's topic, kind of all over the place because I have this idea for one topic and I really like it, but I haven't been able to discuss it with friends enough to fully fledge my my idea because, not to sound pretentious, but I do have a tendency to sound pretentious. I'm a lover of, like, the old way of philosophical thinking. I love the idea of going to a forum, going to your, like, hanging out with your friends and fully talking about these ideas that you've thought of and read about and just, like, diversifying your point of view on it than just sitting in your room, sitting in an office and reading about it, thinking about it, and then nothing more of it. I think thought processes should be fully thought out. But because I haven't had that time to fully think it out, like, I don't think I can give an entire hour of content of that topic without stumbling over myself, which is, like, fine and perfect because I have another topic that I can't fully fledge out. So it's just gonna be a little bit of both. So I think I'm gonna start off with the first one and then do the second one because I like to end it about me because it is my podcast. So let's get started. So the first one is definitely about men. Oh, shocker. I believe that we are missing a third tier, middle tier, to how we categorize men being just a little annoying when it comes to things. And this comes from me watching a TikTok of this woman being like, this is my lunch bag and this is what my husband packed me for lunch because I ran out of time in the morning. And then like in the word, like the text, she'd be like, oh yeah, I was running late, I woke up late and I only had time to make our breakfast, so I asked him if he could run back to the house real quick to get me food because I can't just leave the school. And because she's an elementary school teacher, mind you, literally one of the most disrespected people in like public service type works. Actually, no, that's not completely true. But like in like education, like the educational world, one of the most, disrespected. It goes like preschool teachers, elementary school teachers, you know what I mean? Then high school, then middle school. I'm not going to go into that, but like, yeah, they're pretty, pretty down there. So she opens up her little bag and it's just a bunch of snacks. For lunch, he packed her a bunch of just like bags from the pantry. Opened, barely full, just bags. Family-sized bags of things from their pantry. And a sandwich of one piece of bread, folded in half, I'm pretty sure, of a jelly sandwich. That last part I might have made up. That last part, I'm going to keep it a buck. I have a really good memory, but sometimes it will leave me. But like, my memory is so good that I can decipher whether or not something might have been made up by me and then what has not been made up by me. So yeah, there is a high likelihood that one was totally made up, but like I can picture it in my head, so it might not be. So that's one of the 50-50s, but I'm not exaggerating about the fact that it was just like the fake Takis from like Trader Joe's, literally like the bag, like this much of the bag, crumpled up, put in her lunchbox. And like, it's just a bunch of like half empty stuff, which is fine and dandy and normal, sure, to have in a pantry, not for lunch. And the entire comment section was split into two. It was people being like, your husband hates you, divorce him. And then other people being like, guys, at least he tried. Guys, like, what if he was in a rush, like had to go back to work? Hey, if he wasn't that much of a rush, and he and his wife, who is always making him his lunch and his breakfast and his dinner, from the way that he was packing that meal, the least he can do if he was in a rush was put together a nice fucking lunch. Maybe a sandwich that isn't just the butt end of the loaf of bread in jelly. If he was in a rush, he didn't have to go back home and get her lunchbox and put a bunch of bullshit in there. He could have fucking stopped by Chipotle, Sweet Green, McDonald's, somewhere if he was in a rush like that. Like, at the very least, he could have gotten mini Ziploc bags or reusable little snack tins to put those little snacks in. But no, he just threw whatever he saw in the pantry of shit that he's like, oh yeah, well, she bought that, so she has to like that as a snack, and just put them all in her. And a lot of people were like, that type of weaponized incompetence is volatile, and if you don't talk to your man soon, or if this is something that has always been a thing, there's a chance that your husband does not give a fuck about who you are and who you are and what you do for him. But I think that weaponizing competence is not the word that we should be going for. Because I believe that the use of weaponizing competence actually single-handedly gets rid of the idea of men are all stupid. And look, hey, if there was a Spotify, if there was a rewind, I switched to Apple Music for a year, and all of a sudden I forget what the Spotify rewind or whatever it's called is called. But like, if I got a rewind of the phrases I use the most in a year, men are so stupid will be probably up there. And that's not me being like, I'm a man hater, because tragically, if you know who I am, hate is the I don't hate men, okay? I believe generalizations should only be used especially in this sense, as a personal way of venting to yourself or friends. I think the second you generalize in an academic setting, on a soapbox, on online, or in coaching sessions, which leads me to, especially generalization is evil when you're monetizing it. I think that is when you're stupid and wrong and evil and not actually helping people at all. Because generalizations don't help anybody in the long run. Generalizations have no place in advice, I feel like. And that is a rough statement to make, because generalizations, especially in casual language, is fucking everywhere. It's you can't look anywhere without it. And as I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to say a lot of generalized words, but the thoughts themselves aren't generalized. And I feel as if that's another thing that we are missing as a society. This comprehension, some might say reading comprehension. This form of language arts of comprehension that we're missing, because people refuse to think deeper than maybe the curtains are just blue. You know what I mean? People, I'm not gonna get into that, guys. Humanities are important. Please remember, humanities are important. No class is stupid. No class is useless. The only thing that makes a class useless is if you refuse to take in what it's trying to teach you. Was Intro to Statistics useless to me? No. Did I deem it useless because I couldn't do it? Yes. Doesn't mean it's not useless. It doesn't mean it's useless. It just means that I got nothing out of it, because I struggled so much to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm tapping out. Give me the C and I'll go. And that's exactly what I did. I took the C and I left. Dude, C's get degrees. C's, they get them. Anywho, I feel statements. I feel as if generalization is part of the reason why we are backtracking as a society, when we had and showed promise for growth. We forgot that this growth could only happen if we take careful consideration for how we push it forward. And I feel as if it's a disservice when there are not enough people catering to specifying what we're fighting for. And this is not going to be this big, like, feminist take where I'm stepping up to the plate and I'm taking down the patriarchy. I'm talking about a basic everyday thing. I'm talking about how to deal with something that affects us daily, face to face, not something that faces us daily subconsciously behind, like, you know, the puppeteer moving our strings, because that's a little bit harder to explain in in the time that I've given myself. But I do believe that the generalization that all men are stupid kind of makes them less malicious than they can be, because it infantilizes them to a point where it's like, for some things you just, like, you can't get too mad because they're just guys. Hey, so just so you know, this idea of, well, they're just guys is like, hey, look, you can get mad at me for saying this all you want, and you can be like, ooh, feminist burn, that's not true, you guys just love to make things bigger than they actually are. Hey, my degree may not be in this, but I have taken enough classes, and I have studied enough, and I researched enough for classes and otherwise to know that that type of language where it's like, oh, boys will be boys, you know, has become something so rampant in, oh, no, that's X. Culture. If you know, no, that was not a part of it. You know, if you know sign language, hopefully I spelled that correctly. Culture. I'm cringed out whenever people say the TikTok censor version of it, but I also don't want to, I hate the word myself. So, like, I don't like saying it. Not that it's, like, a bad word like that, but, like, I don't like using that word. It, makes me very uncomfortable. But it is a huge part of culture. Culture. Use your brains. And I would like to progress as society to a point where boys will be boys refers to guys doing, like, stupid shit where they, like, jump into, like, they jump off cliffs, like cliff diving. You know what I mean? Like, I wish we could go back to where boys will be boys is, like, dumb stuff like covering themselves in dirt and then joining, like, a lumberjack yard or something. Like, I don't know what guys do, guys. I don't know. But it isn't, and it that sucks. Like, it sucks that we're in a society where we have to be like, this is what boys will be boys is all about, not whatever the fuck's actually going on. And I don't know where that came from. I was just trying to say that the generalization that all men are stupid actually sets us back even more, because that verbiage comes from people saying, like, this is why women have to run the household, have to take care of the children. That verbiage of men they're boys will be boys, they're dumb little guy, they're dumb, it is from this verbiage that's supposed to lift up this idea of that's why all women have to bear children and run the household. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to do that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to run the household and raise children, multiple children, you know, do all that stuff. But that verbiage was the thing that kept women there, made it not a choice, made it something that they had to do. And it also takes away agency from these men. Are there times where they're a little bit dim-witted? Sure, yeah, why not? So with women, same with women. But a lot of the time, especially with that TikTok, and then another TikTok where this girl's husband ate all of the snacks that she specifically told him to keep for her and give to her right after she runs a marathon, her first ever marathon, and he ate the entire basket of snacks that, hey, she made for herself as a reward and like sustenance after her race. Like that, like, men are dumb, men are blah, takes away agency. And I think that's why it's not only incompetence and malicious incompetence, if there should also be lack of understanding, because it is different than lack of importance, more like, not lack of understanding, because there is a difference between not understanding the importance of knowing how to do this task and just doing it correctly the first time, and incompetence. Because incompetence is like, you just weren't taught it. I'll do it, I don't mind doing it, I just don't know how to do it. Then there's, I just don't get why I need to do it. Like, I don't, like, you can do it clearly, why am I doing it? And then because it's a pain to have to teach people things, and you wish that you didn't have to, and it's not your job to. But in certain circumstances, when you are friends with these people, when you are in relationships with these people, when you know these people, I think to a certain degree, we all owe each other something. And if that means that it's a friend that I love that is unaware of how to do something specific that, like, I know how to do because I was raised to know how to do it and he was not, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's not my job to teach men how to do things. It's not my job to teach men how to do things, but as a friend, I don't think there's any harm of me being like, okay, well, like, I don't want to always be doing this, but I'm going to teach you how to do it, but I'm never doing this again. Peace and love. Like, I think there's, like, there's something wrong with people, because, like, it's so annoying how many people are like, I don't owe people anything. Unless you do. As humans, we owe each other things. If we expect for growth to happen, that is how progress happens. This innate need to do things for others. If if it wasn't so important for people to rely on each other, we wouldn't have run in packs. You know what I mean? Societies would not have formed the way that they did if we didn't need each other. So stop with this bullshit of, like, I don't owe you anything. Hey, sometimes you do owe people things. Yeah, sometimes you do owe people things. And you're a fucking cunt if you think otherwise. Yeah. And also, hey, your therapy speak of, you don't owe people. Hey, you're not, most of you not in therapy. Also, most of you not therapists. You don't fully understand that statement or understand the complexities that come with that statement. Because sometimes you're saying that and it's a situation where you definitely do owe somebody a fucking apology. Yeah. Oh, but it affects my mental health. Like it's already done and over, like, whatever. Hey, sometimes even if it's done and over, you owe somebody a fucking apology. Yep. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get into that. Don't worry. But yeah, I think that added layer, that middle space where it's like they don't understand the importance of knowing it, actually makes weaponizing competence even more volatile, because it's like you understand why. you're being asked to do this. You understand why it's important that you do this. You understand what it means for you to just do it for me. Just do one, just do one for me. And then you didn't. And I think it's my anger towards that TikTok has grown because I saw another TikTok of this guy being like, what I see a lot in my friends is that a lot of their arguments with their partners. Sorry, let me plug in my laptop. A lot of their issues with their partners is this miscommunication about what is considered selfish. Because to men, we think that it's selfish to expect things from other people. While women think it's selfish to not just do something for somebody, because to them, they would do it without asking. And I think, one, that's a very interesting difference and something really worth considering and talking to people about, because it's not one of those things where each person has to change, but it is one of those things where in a relationship, you both have to come to some type of middle ground where just because they didn't do it just to do it doesn't make them selfish, but it doesn't mean that you should start expecting nothing from them out of nowhere. You know what I mean? I'll get into that more in depth some other day if we go back to it. But as people I feel as if the way that we've made generalizations about culture in culture so prevalent is part of the reason why we have not been seeing growth, because we have girl bossified progress. I think about that thing that we would say as kids, girls go to college to get more knowledge, boys go to Jupiter to get more stupider. That was fun and cute and hilarious as kids, but we've somehow modified that into adulthood and are confused as to why we are all men, women, non-binary people. Everybody on this fucking planet has been acting like children. It's because we've just normalized acting like kids and thinking like kids. It's funny hearing kids be like, oh, well, it's because we're all blah, 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 blah. Yeah, generalization is kind of a elementary way of talking. And that doesn't mean that I'm better than you because I try not to generalize. Because that's not the truth. That's not the truth of how I run my life. On my daily basis, when I'm not talking about things like this and I'm not in this mindset where I want to explore something like this, I'm not thinking, wow, I'm so much better than everybody else because I don't generalize. Because I know that in my daily life, if something goes wrong, men are stupid. No man will ever fucking step up to the plate. It's so fucking annoying. They're all evil and they're all disgusting and I think they should all die. I talk like that on my daily life. I don't mean that full-heartedly. When I'm not going through something, I'm not thinking, yeah, I think you should die. No! If I thought all men would die, how would I watch the Devils? How would I watch hockey? Guys, if I thought all men should die, how can I expect Zayn Malik to fall in love with me? Come on. But no, but in reality, genuinely, it just it kind of pisses me off when people generalize to no end and lose sight of the real issue, and it's society, and we have to change perspective if we don't want to keep going into the Stone Ages. They overturned Roe v. Wade. A lot of people act as if nothing has changed, but there are people genuine people that like are being affected by this heavy. They rolled back like actual things that keep people safe, like inclusive bathrooms. In the name of safety. And it's just like, if we genuinely want change, like actual substantial change that helps people to actually happen, it genuinely does start in how we think on a daily basis and how we rationalize different parts of our days and how we think. Sorry, I'm just still getting so pissed. Like, all you had to do was pack her lunch, bro. All you had to do was pack her lunch. And now some girl from fucking middle of nowhere, New York is yapping about you not packing her a good lunch. Okay. Next topic. Next topic is the enigma of me. More me time. Second topic is I'm anti-capitalist. And I think that is a hard thing for people to swallow. And I think that I'm not the most well-versed person to talk about that. Partially because that's not my area of expertise. And the fact that, look at my room. Look at my all Apple setup on my, in my bedroom of my parents' house. I own so many things and I buy into so many things. Like, I genuinely am like the worst person to like hear out when it comes to this. And I think that's like part of like what makes it so important that I do, at least to a degree, understand my flaws in this. Because it's one thing to buy into it, but it's another thing to indulge in it. Which is two different things, but not really. If you catch my drift. Guys, I'm so sorry, but I've been like trying to hide burps like this entire time, and I'm so sorry. Anyway. I don't like money. Money stresses me out. Not in the sense of like I don't have any, because like I don't have any, but like that's not the point here. I think that genuinely money is the cause of all evil. Greed is the cause of all evil. And in a philosophy class I had, someone asked like what my ideal society would be. I'd be like, yeah, I would just like get rid of money, and like everybody just like did their own little thing, and like, oh, like you would just like do little favors for each other. And you'd be like, oh, like I don't know how to build a house, but like you know how to build a house, and if you build my house for me, I know how to sew, like I could like make you bed sheets as a return. And someone's like, isn't that literally just currency then? Like, no, not, I mean, like if you put it that way, I guess, but not really. And she like rolled her eyes at me, and like obviously moved past that, whatever, it's fine. But like I think that doing a little deed for somebody isn't currency. If you want to gamify everything, anything can be currency. Knowledge that I have on people have currency. The things that I own, yeah, sure, have currency. The amount of fingers I own compared to another person has currency. The hair on my head has currency. If you think of it in a gamified way, everything has currency. But like, why would your first line of thinking when I'm trying to create my perfect world, no, like actual world restraints be no money, why would your first thought to be, let me pick a hole in your perfect world like that? I don't like, again, I don't have the verbiage. I've read and listened and whatever enough to know that I'm not the biggest fan of it. But again, we'll find a way to own everything a certain shade of pink, or just pink in general, and have Apple products at the wazoo. Like, look, I'm an enigma. Like, look, sorry. And I do think that it is easy for me to say that from the position I am from. I do live comfortably. I went to a good school. My parents are able to support me as I'm trying to find a job and start my career. I understand that it is so easy for me to say that from where I'm sitting. In that people have different circumstances where money genuinely is their savior. And I'm not trying to take that away from them. I am saying, though, that the only reason why money is your savior is because money created your problem. And I feel like I am not the person to create that perfect world. I'm not that person to create that political system that'll fix everything. Because economic thinking has been such a critical part of our life since Mesopotamia. So how are we supposed to separate ourselves from it? Do I think that there is possibility of doing it, of changing, of fixing something? Yes. But I do think it's very hard and difficult, and it has to be run by people who have the best intentions at heart. And I just think that in our world, the type of people who want to be politicians and are willing to do what they have to do to become higher up politicians in certain areas are not the people to be driving this. And I think that's why a lot of the best change comes from local government and smaller ones, because they help keep in track the bigger ones. But I'm not going to get into that. Again, not the person to talk about this at all. And do not take any of these words as what I mean, because I'm going to probably say something few episodes down the line that sound completely different from what I'm saying right now. But like, that's like the foundation of, like, you know, I think that it's so interesting to live in a world so object heavy, so consumerist heavy. Take part in it to a certain degree and be disgusted by it. And I think that isn't my sign to, like, completely disconnect from it, go back to nature, join a commune, because sorry, I like TikTok too much. Sorry, I love my computer and I love video editing and writing on my computer so too much for me to just stop doing that. But then again, I think that this critical view of it is important, and I think it's part of what makes my foundation so strong, that even though to a certain degree I am capitalism's favorite, I think it is better to critique the system that you're in than to follow it blindly. To, like, understand it and still take part of it, or to follow it blindly. I think there is a good difference between that, and that could make it good or bad, but I think that difference is important. And I think it's really good and chill that, like, I'm kind of like the worst person to to be to like have on your side of like anti-money, because like money's everything, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I love Addison Rae. Oh my god, I love Addison Rae. Anyway, guys, that's like it. Like, I'm so sorry, like that is it. I could talk about Rome, but Rome is for the next podcast, because the next podcast is Rome and my birthday. Obviously not gonna be filming it when I'm on my vacation. Come on now. This isn't my job. I'm not gonna work. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut it off here. And I guess you'll know more about my trip through the vlog, if I remember to vlog, and the next podcast. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Kaye, and welcome to my corner of the internet, I guess, again, even though we're ending. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want. Comment if you want. And who gave me a mic? Because certainly it wasn't me, because I have too much power with a mic. I think less people